Hey everyone, welcome back to a podcast which I actually haven't done in a while, but for a very special occasion. I'm joined here by two Club Penguin Army legends, Mustapha10 of the Doritos, and the esteemed Lord Payne, representing multiple number one armies as well. Um, as Lord Payne is retiring after, I believe, 14 years of service, no, closer to something else, I don't know, a long time, most of my life. One of the undisputed goats of the community is retiring, and he wanted to give his piece. So I'll shut up. I'm gonna let Payne get to say what he wants to say.
Hey guys, uh, we're here, and it's not easy to do this. Um, I joined in 2009, and it's just been a whirlwind of events between my life and my actual life and my Club Penguin Army life, and I've come to the age now where I have to make a choice. Um, I have to make a choice on which one of these realms I want to better myself in, and it's not even just that. It's just we all come to an age where we no longer can do this. And for me, skill and compatibility with the community isn't the issue. Uh, we all know, and I've proven multiple times that my skills keep up with the times, and I'm always studied, and I always know what's going on with the community. I've always been able to evolve while the other older leaders who have retired a lot sooner than I have, uh, they weren't able to keep up, and they had to go when they went. And I've led 11 armies. I was recruited into the community, like I said, in 2009 when the Night Warriors were fighting ACP. I saw them. There fighting, and I looked up the Night Warriors, and that's where everything began. I was in the Night Warriors, and then I spent brief time in the Dark Warriors, UMA, and Team Gold were some of my earliest armies. And then after that, I was just leading small armies until the first opportunity that I had gotten from someone was from the Doritos, was from WWE Best Fan. I had become a name in the community, and he finally had given me a chance to, and he put me on the spotlight. And from the Doritos moving forward, I moved through my 11 armies, and led all of my armies except for UMA, because I had no support and no resources in UMA. But still, I did better than everybody else did for many, many years in UMA, even with the little bit of time that I spent there. I think I got UMA to like 7th. But every other army I led into the top 5 and top 3, and I was just successful off of just raw talent and personality, and I was able to I was able to make the hard decisions that many people were too weak to make those decisions, um, because I always uh, was able to weigh the importance of things. I always had enough maturity, and I think that the pain that I've gone through, the suffering that I've gone through in my life, allowed me to possess a higher level of maturity when it came to making these hard decisions that I had to make. And I always based it around acting with cruelty for the sake of kindness. Um, because strength doesn't come from thin air. Uh, Unfortunately, people need to be pushed through boundaries in order to reach heights that they probably wouldn't reach on their own or through softer methods. And I always justified everything through that. And people can say what they want to say about uh, my career leading up to RPF. Obviously, there were many power struggles. I was never really an army hopper. People begged me to join them. They were failing. I came in. I got them to where I got them, and if we parted ways, it was because of just power struggles and jealousy and people not being able to handle uh, the strictness that it takes to be able to compete at the highest level. Um, People's feelings really don't mean shit. Uh, you're either going to do what you came here to do, which is sustain an army, um, or you're not. And feelings got in a lot of people's way when it came to that process. I feel, and people never were able to understand that uh, people have to be there for their feelings to matter in the first place. And the army is not going to be there unless you bite down on your mouthpiece and you engage in methods that are surrounded by the thought process of cruelty for the sake of kindness. Some people won't be able to handle it, and those are the people that are worth losing, because if they can't handle that, then they can't handle shit. So, but the people who withstand it, those are the people who are actually going to become something in this community, and then they'll thank you later, like, hey, thank you, you were hard on me, and now I became something because of that. And the top examples of that in my life are my two boys, uh, Mustapha and Elmaki. They withstood everything, and they became two of the greatest of all time. And when I couldn't be there at times, they were there taking my place. And they've moved on. And I can't ask anything more I can't ask for anything more than what I've been given, and I've been so blessed to have the people that I've had around me all these years. Um, you were there when people who should have been here in person in my real life weren't here. And I just thank everybody because y'all made me who I am. And I don't regret any time that we spent together. Um, uh, in the early days, um, I had an incident that really made my name take off, and it was my experience in the Golden Troops, and the other leader besides WWE Best Fan who helped elevate me to my status was Jerry, the legendary Golden Troops leader. The story of GT, even though I wasn't there when ACP took out GT, it still ended up affecting me later on because I became a part of GT and I learned their story. And and Jerry was the first guy to embrace me and fight for me, no matter what I did, no matter what I said, or how it was viewed. He had my back and believed in me and knew what I was going to move on and become. And I just saw that because of what ACP and what McHappy had done, the careers of men who could have been much greater than they were stripped of them because of this man's horrible actions. And he continues to bring the community down today. Um, he's a weak man. He always will be. And I reclaimed GT's glory in 2014. I was able to lead them back to number one. But the after effects of losing what they had lost, I feel, deteriorated them, and they just didn't withstand the test of time. And and they gave up, and I didn't give up. And it's just it's crazy how things played out because of that. Because it was almost like, I don't even know how to put it into words. it felt like a sacrifice that wasn't a sacrifice because it was Jerry's time, but his retirement was the hardest thing that I had to deal with. He was almost like a dad to me in armies, and he was everything to me. And there's been a sadness in my heart for so long, and when he left, um, that was the thing that opened the door for me to go back to RPF, and it was almost like him dying for my ascension in my mind. And GT couldn't be the one to do it. Uh, I wish I had the right words to make you see how it connects, but uh, it was just the saddest thing ever. It was just in GT we finally got there, and then a lot of just a whole mess of events had happened, and people just started giving up. I was just watching people give up around me, and I was soldiering through, just screaming, saying we finally made it here, and I kept trying, and I was trying, and everyone else was just slipping away one by one, and then conversations went on, and it was just always looked at as a family army, and the family just wasn't there anymore. It was just me in the end, and I had to go back. I had to I had to leave, and then I found my way back into RPF, and basically repeatedly beat all of the top 10 armies in wars and tournaments. Won all the tournaments. Um, was number one almost all the time from 2013 until I retired in 2017, and then they kept on being number one from there forward. But I've faced everyone, all the legends. I faced Puckley, Icy Feet, Saw, Exile Unknown, Water Kid. Uh, I faced the Doritos too, not while Musta was leading. Um, I faced and beat every relevant top 10 army in both um, the Royal Club Penguin era, and I beat them all again when I led in what Templars. I beat the modern top 10. Um, I've done everything conceivable that there is to do, and I never had to spend thousands of dollars on recruiting bullshit. I was always able to do everything organically, and that's what makes me such a legend. Just raw talent and a head for armies that no one has ever had besides me. The only one who competes with me just really in longevity alone was Icy Feet. But yeah, after GT was lost, I was able to claim their revenge. Uh, after years of repeatedly beating everyone and winning every tournament, an opportunity finally came up in 2016, and I was able to return to leadership because for a few years I was basically just shadow leading. I was advisor, but I still had full control over the army, and me and Elmaki were making all the decisions for RPF, and I was still attending and leading in events regardless of being advisor, so it didn't really make a difference. I just wasn't full-time leader, so I didn't bother claiming the title. But once I moved back to full-time in 2016, I completely dominated ACP, humiliated them, and took away their legacy for all time. Had them begging for mercy. I punished them for what they did. I punished McCabe for what he did, and I bitched him for life. And took their entire nation. They never took it back. They were dead for 2 years. Didn't come back until 2019. And that really is the pinnacle of armies. What more could you do to be better than that? It's impossible. Like the ACP was the first army, and whoever overcomes them is the only one who's better than they are. So that's what I did. And in the game of Club Penguin Armies, victory is decided by winning by the proper rule set, and that's what I did. I literally followed ACP's rules better than they did because Boomer had to do with creating the rules of Club Penguin Warfare. So I literally followed the rules better than ACP did. So I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything more to be better. If I tried, and I look at these leaders now, and I don't see a true leader or a true personality anywhere in the top 10. The last one who was anything close was Zing in recent years, and I just think to myself, even if I was competing at the top right now, I'd be giving people an opportunity that they don't even deserve. Like, first of all, we're in a community that isn't even functioning right. They're plastering faggot shit all over the fucking news sites. The community into a Fruit Loop community. Every leader's a fucking pussy. They're banning people for swearing and using slurs, as they call them, which kids in like elementary school and middle school do that. Like, we're not supposed to be a bunch of nerds. We're supposed to be a bunch of young people on here playing a game, and a part of the game is acting as violently as possible towards one another in order to create the conflicts that we need. in order to keep the community alive. And it just goes back to what I was saying about people's feelings. People's feelings don't matter if there's nobody here for you to see. If there's no people for to be here to worry about their feelings, then what the fuck do the feelings matter in the first place? So uh, it's just all about a stomach, and the stomach is gone from this community. We used to have leaders that knew how to stir up conflicts and make the troops tune in. There used to be a storyline, and troops could look at it both through what people said on chat and what people said in speeches. They're not even writing speeches anymore. They don't follow the ways of OG armies, the ways that they were supposed to be taught, the ways that they were the things that they were expected to inherit. They didn't inherit, and a lot of it comes from Discord. A lot of it comes from people relying on the tools of Discord in order to do a job that's supposed to be organically done. Because when something is organically done, then people connect with it more. But now they just slap shit on Discord and hope for the best. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And even when it works, it doesn't work all the way that it should. People think that they can slap a high size on CPAB and not really do anything with the military strength, not conquer anyone, not kill anyone, not retire anyone. You're just having all this muscle to flex it and do nothing with it. It makes no sense. And how can I compete against these scumbags and give them a chance to build a name? Because nobody can build a name now. Who are you going to build a name off of in this community? When I fought people, I built my name off of them because I was fighting people who were Club Penguin Army legends. The greatest that this community has ever seen is who I competed against. Now it's just these garden variety trash leaders who can't do shit. And armies are a world of wins and losses no matter who you are. I mean, I've been in the community now for 15 years, and you could still count on one hand how many battles I've lost. So, but people slip up at times, and it could happen to me. It could happen to anyone. And just imagine how it would be if I'm here to compete against these no names, these people who don't deserve to even have a name built for themselves because they don't really contribute to the community. They just log their army on to dress up as clowns and dance in a circle and then log off. You don't see them making speeches. You don't see them threatening to kill people. You don't see them bringing action. You don't see them creating storylines that people are tapping into, and they're identifying who the hero and the villain is based on the two beefing armies. You don't see that. You don't see newsworthy or noteworthy um, uh, things being pursued by these leaders. They're just all bullshitting with each other. They're a lot of these leaders, even the guys who are enemies with each other, they're sucking each other's dicks behind closed doors. It's disgraceful shit that I can't be around, and nobody deserves the right the honor to be able to say, I fought against Lord Payne. Nobody deserves that. Nobody has done anything that uh, is deserving of that reward, because fighting against me is a privilege. It's a reward to be able to test yourself against someone who has done everything conceivable at the highest level. And I'm not going to be here to compete against these rats and give them a chance to build a name for themselves, to make a story off me. That's not going to happen. Um, my age is a factor. Uh, my relationships in real life are a factor. And I'm not having fun anymore. And that's what we all came here to do. We came here to have fun, and people's actions in this community don't make it fun. Um, they're just dragging the community slowly to its death. And I gave everybody a chance. We tried to do CPAT. We tried to put armies in the hands of the ones that would do right by the community, which is my hands in the hands of anyone who stands with me. And we just couldn't get the community support that we needed. And tried it one time, tried it another time, this time from a different angle. I tried to have the elite guardians help me. They wouldn't. They didn't see the potential in it. And when you've spent all these years arguing and trying to talk sense into people, it weighs on you. It weighs on you. And I have things weighing on me that have nothing to do with armies. And there's a combination of things weighing on me that I can no longer handle. That it's just another thing on the list of things that point towards retire. And no matter who you are, no matter how good, unless you just have no job and you're living in your mama's basement and your mama's okay with you playing Club Penguin Armies for life, there's no way to sustain this life longer than I've managed to do it. And I've managed to do it longer just by, I don't like being around a lot of people. I spend a lot of time alone, and that has aided in the continuation of my army career beyond my expiration date. But I spend every day dealing with the costs of that. I spend every day coming on to this community that is a shadow of its former self, missing all of the good people from this community that have come in and out of my life. Thinking about the people that I've lost, and it's just too much. It's too much. And I can't do it anymore. And I want to be set free. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I used to always keep telling myself, um, I used to keep telling myself that I have to keep going for Jerry, that he's watching me, and I thought he would come back. And he never came back. I never saw him again. I told myself that I would keep going for my boys, for Mustapha and for Elmaki, so that they would see uh, so they would continue to see how great their mentor truly is, and know the worth of what they come from. And I don't know how to even put it into words. Like, I feel like I've just been fighting for everybody that I have left to continue maintaining what we have. Um, because you do this for so long, you feel like everything is attached to armies. But I know now, through many conversations that I've had, that our relationships do go beyond armies. And I know that we will be okay. So I know that I could set myself free and not fear losing anything. And I have nothing more to prove. I proved everything. In 2017, I proved that I was the best of all time with with beating ACP completely, truly, by the book. Took all their servers. They had no land. It's posted on CPAC. Their legacy is gone forever. No matter what they do, no matter how much they max, no matter what top 10 position they earn, especially today because all they're competing against is gutter trash. They might as well. Like, what does the top 10 mean now? Like, who are you competing against? These motherfuckers haven't done anything. So it's a meaningless community where nothing can be earned because none of these leaders have done anything noteworthy. The only way you earn something off defeating an army is if the motherfuckers have done something noteworthy. These motherfuckers don't do anything noteworthy. They dance around and do tactics and log off, and they fucking duck smoke with everyone. So these past few years have been nothing but stressing out and arguing with brick walls. trying to set this community right. And there's a lot of things that I did in the past, and there's a lot of things that I say. Um, there are a lot of aspects that are a part of me just being me that create a much rockier road um, towards achieving my goals. And if I can't achieve my goals through me being me, then it's not worth it at all. Um, and it's not just that, it's the people that have taken advantage since 2017. When I left in 2017, there were major changes going through my life. I had no choice. Originally, it was supposed to be that I was going to leave, sort some things out, and then come right back. And then it just did not turn out that way at all. And then life moved on. I ended up getting into a relationship and yada, yada, yada. There are a lot of people, weak people, that would have been absolutely nothing in the day of OG armies. These people would have been completely brushed off. They took advantage of strong leaders and of me being absent, and throughout those years where I was doing nothing besides just hanging around Discord, behind the scenes, the ACP and all the other weak little pussy motherfuckers that they hang around. Um, they just took the reins of the media and of judging, and they've created a how do I word it? They've created a wall, kind of, that is years in the making, that has blocked out the core elements that really make Club Penguin armies what they're meant to be, and they've they've reimagined it into just a pussy game. And this wall is like the Great Wall of fucking China, and me and everyone around me, we've been chipping and chipping and chipping away. But it's just an infinite amount of chipping, and our bodies would break down before it's even able to be broken through. The manipulation is so deep in this community, from ACP and from all the other soft armies, from the faggot supporters, from the weirdos, and it had too long of a window to grow. Meanwhile, everyone who worked around me, a majority of them retired, and the people who are left here, while I weren't active, spent all of their time demonizing me and people like me, anyone who's worth a shit in armies, and anyone who kept this community traditional and old school. These people were demonized, and the Fruit Loop shit was encouraged and put on the forefront and made mainstream. And by the time that I got here to do anything about it, um, my faction is reduced to not nearly the numbers that it used to be. And that's what happens when the king leaves the throne. Um, I left the throne, and unfortunately, gay Fruit Loops sat on it. Um, I was on the throne from 2013 to 2017, and I actually did something with the throne. I slaughtered everyone like they were fucking nothing, repeatedly, and everyone knows that. And anyone can say what they want to say, but facts are facts. Um, I don't really know what more there is to say. I tried as hard as I could for as long as I could. I dealt with a lot of handicaps getting older, and the handicaps aren't going to stop. They're going to continue, and I don't want to be handicapped. I don't want my boys to watch me not at my best. Nobody wants to see a legend not at their best. Um, Everyone always prefers to see their hero, their legend, their icon stop when it's no longer healthy to continue. And that point is here for me now. Um, I'll always be floating around on Discord. Um, but tomorrow will be my last rodeo. And we'll do what we can to make it a hell of a show. Um, I did more than anyone. I led more armies than anyone. I don't think anyone has led 3 armies to number 1. I'm the only person who's done that. I was leader of UMA, GT, RPF, Shadow Troops, Army Republic, SWAT, Doritos, Pretzels, Templar, RPF. I don't know if I mentioned RPF already. Light Troops. Pretty sure I mentioned all of them. No one had a better reign than I did. I mean, how can you argue that? There's leaders nowadays who have done shit all, haven't faced any relevant opponents, and yet they get ranked, or yet they get voted in as legend. I never tried to get voted in as legend. Everyone knows I'm a legend regardless. CPAC legend was always more of a personality and popularity contest, and I didn't come here to be friends and rub dicks with people. I came here to slaughter motherfuckers and really play this game and be the best at it. And that's what I did. And the people who did become my friends were the ones who were trying to do the same thing as me. So and my legacy is going to go on forever. The things that I did, my way of speaking, my toughness, it's what's going to keep me talked about for years to come. Like, when has anyone ever stopped talking about me? They never stop talking about me. And it's because I'm willing to do and I'm willing to say what others are not. And that's why most of these people who are CPAC legends, when do you ever, aside from the ones that you see on Discord, when do you ever bring up a single person who's a Club Penguin Army legend that you haven't seen on Discord in recent times? You literally never talk about them. Their name just literally gathers dust. Meanwhile, I'm like a 24/7 topic in armies. If I so much as make a post, hundreds of people will view it right away. So I let my legacy speak for itself. I never had to speak for it. And that's I never circled up with motherfuckers and started begging for votes and begging for nominations. I don't need it. I have no need. It's all just a farce anyway. So I'm retiring with no shame. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I just regret that it came to this point where there's so little respect for an icon and a pioneer, to where someone like me who truly deserves it wouldn't have his way in the end. And what I'm referring to is just the whole CPAT situation. It just makes no sense that people want to go in this never-ending circle with this clearly corrupt org, which is controlled by ACP and RPF, and there are literally zero advantages for any other armies besides those two. The judging, CPAG, absolute garbage. Armies constantly getting robbed. I had solutions for all of these things, and I just don't see how people don't look and reflect on events, and see that they're continuously going around in circles, following these faggot Fruit Loop organizations. Armies aren't getting stronger; they're getting weaker, and the orgs are supposed to guide armies down a positive route. They're supposed to guide it down a route that leads to growth. They're leading it down a path that leads to death. There's, it's just, I can go on and on about this, but there's just no point anymore, and that's why stopping is all I can do. Um, uh, we had an experience recently, not too recently, but many months ago. Mustapha had opened up a Minecraft server, and I saw guys that I used to work with in the Shadow Troops, and I filled them in on everything that I had done, the success that I had with RPF, and even in the modern community with Templars too. But we're mostly talking about RPF and me taking ACP's nation, and I remember them saying that I had become everything that they thought I'd become, and RPF was on the Minecraft server too, and it was just hilarious seeing it. It wasn't even just those Shadow Troops guys. There was a whole bunch of OG vets there, all who were around when I sat on the throne and when I was dominating the community. And it was just crazy seeing how manipulated and how um, how misled they are, being led by this transsexual Fruit Loop. Um, I've just seen so many things. I've been in so many situations where these newer age guys just have no idea about the past. And their minds just cannot be overridden by anything. And if it can, it's like what I was saying about the Great Wall earlier. We'll be chipping away for so long that by the time we finally break through, how old will I be by then? You know what I mean? Um, I went on for as long as I could, and I'm too old now. And that's just the bottom line of it. And I don't want to be stressing. I don't want to be sad and in pain anymore. I don't want anyone to see me like that. And I have to stop. I was just looking at something before I keep talking. Wanted to make sure I get this right. Yes, so just in case I got the list wrong earlier, it was RPF, GT, LT, ST, Pretzels, Doritos, UMA, AR, SWAT, and my last army, Templars. Um, I know that this interview, well, not interview, it's just me talking, but I know that by the end of this, a lot of this is going to sound wild, and now I've been quiet at times, so there's going to be pauses, but just know that my mind is everywhere with this, and this is not easy at all. And I'm trying to make sure that I get everything out. Um, um, so much of what people do online, people never think about what's pushed them to that. And a lot of the things that people say people never think about what's behind those words and what could have happened to make someone say or do these things. And I lived a life that has been a lot more colorful and painful than a lot of people have lived. And that's what made me so great in armies, because I was hardened and I didn't have the weaknesses that other people possessed. Um, and at this point, I'm just going to talk about whatever I'm thinking about, because I'm just everywhere at this point. But I just think about Jerry a lot and what happened between us, and what he taught me and what he did for me. That man changed my life. Um, he was there for me and believed in me when literally nobody else did. And then I was able to be that person for Mustafa and for Almaki, thanks to him. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him. And Jerry, if you see this, just know that I love you, man. And I did everything after you left. I did it all for you. You gave me the strength to be there for my two boys. I stayed long enough to see both of their careers out. I know that you couldn't do that for me, but I forgive you. I just want you to know that. And I just want to thank everybody who loved and believed in me. And they used to always tell me, they used to always make fun of me. They used to always say that I wouldn't be shit. They used to always say that ACP would never die. But I fucking made it through everything. I made it through everything. I beat everybody that they said I wouldn't beat. I remember when I beat the Dark Warriors. I remember I had a long rivalry with Exile Unknown, and shout out to Exile Unknown because he was one of the rivals. We were like frenemies basically, and in the end, I'll always consider him a lifelong friend. Big shout out to Exile Unknown. I remember when I finally had when I had beaten the Dark Warriors. I think it was after the Christmas Chaos. Um, Unknown had sent me a message saying that he admits defeat, but it and I believe that he retired shortly after that, and he wasn't just talking about the Christmas Chaos. He was just talking about he just admits defeat and everything, and what a great fucking guy he was. We challenged each other. We challenged each other, and he made me better. And and he's one of the few people that I can say that he was on the other side, but he was my friend too. And there were other rivalries that I had that allowed me to build more of a name, such as Nacho is never really that relevant of a rival to me, more to Elmeke or Silverberg, but a lot of people, especially in RPF, looked at that as a big deal when I took Puck Leon and smashed him to pieces and took back Tuxedo. Surprisingly, the most important battle that I could have against Puckley was the very first one, I believe, which is where I took back Tuxedo. So shout out to Puckley, fucking legend, man. And I didn't know him that well personally, but he was a stepping stone for me for sure. Honestly, he was not a tough opponent though, but hell of a career. I wish I could say that there were a lot of people who really tested my mettle in RPF, but in RPF, Commando asked me to join in 2013, and I rebuilt RPF with a foundation of my people, and that's where I met and trained El McKee. And then um, we made RPF into what it is, and RPF is really the best was really the best representation of me from 2013 to 2017. That's an example of an army that contains years of my recruiting, years of my influence, years of my work, and look at what they became. They easily surpassed ACP and became the best Club Penguin army of all time. And under me and El McKee, RPF was really the perfect army. Um, you'd come on there and people would be saying salute to one another. People would be talking like real soldiers. Nowadays people are like in modern armies, people are more like drones than they are soldiers. Everyone is paying for things and paying for Robux and paying for nitros and whatever they can pay to make these soldiers compete for them. And in RPF, we didn't have to do that. They were loyal to us. They were loyal to our. They were drawn to our personalities, and we had people trained as real soldiers who were fighting for the cause, who were looking at our speeches, who were looking and identifying the enemy and having hate for them and being emotionally invested. We knew how to get people emotionally invested, and that's what made us great. We didn't have to pay for anything. We did everything organically. We knew how to make people emotionally invested. And nowadays people don't do that anymore. Nothing is organic, nothing is real. Nobody's emotionally invested. Everyone feels that they could just come and go as they please, and it's everywhere. And it all just always brings me back to this wall of China thing. It's just like how long will you be chipping before you finally break through, and how old will you be, and how much will you have lost before you break through? And I used to chip away at things when I was young, and there are many things that I broke through with, many things that I was able to change, many things that I was able to accomplish. And I'm too old now to chip through any wall because I will be way too old when it's over, when the battle is won, and it won't even have been worth winning. And that's exactly the situation with CPAT. By the time I chip through the wall, by the time I win, much more will be lost than what will be won. um, I wouldn't change anything that I did before RPF. Um, I went through a path of many struggles, of many ups and downs, of many successes and failures to lead me to the perfect platform that I actually belonged to. And the only thing that I wish could have been different is obviously how things ended with RPF. That was horrendous. It was disrespectful. It was sickening, and it was evil. And we didn't deserve that. The way that me and Elmicky, especially Elmicky and Silverberg, have ended up is beyond sickening. And Commando and all of them should be fucking ashamed of themselves. And they ruined the legacy of the Army. They really did. They ruined the legacy of the Army. But it's amazing how even something with a ruined legacy, something that just because I touched it, because I influenced it for as long as I did, it's still fucking bulletproof, even with some transsexual faggot leading the Army. And that's the only thing that I can take away from a negative situation. It's amazing how even in the most bullshit of a story, the most bullshit of a situation, you can take away anything. You could still take away something positive from something that went to total shit. But you can still take away positive from it just because at one point in time I had touched it, and it it just shows how great I really am. Like, that brings me back to when we saw the Shadow Troops on Minecraft. I remember Vitzit saying that that what I did, and I didn't spend a lot of time in the Shadow Troops, but I got them in the top 5 and top 6, and I was in and out of Shadow Troops about 3 times, but it was amazing the impact that I left with that army, with just that army alone, with an army that I look at as irrelevant in my career because things became relevant for me once I was always in the top three. But it's amazing that these people could come back from one of the more irrelevant armies in my career, and they could tell me that I really paved the way for them. Like, that's fucking amazing. So the literal worst of me was able to pave the way for legendary leaders of the Shadow Troops, and not even just them. Throughout all 11 of my armies, I was the mentor of basically the entire the entire generation of original armies. Um, Aside from armies that I fought against, but outside of that, everyone was influenced by me. I was a pioneer of leadership. I was the pioneer of violence, and the pioneer of role play in armies. And even when I was introduced to Calgo, the motherfucker was introduced to me as a fan, and he's a guy who moved on to lead ACP. The guy was introduced to me as the ACP version of Lord Payne. So I mean, even an army that I literally took its entire nation. There's a kid from fucking 2009, the same year that I joined. He was a fan of me. So it's amazing that you can draw a positive from even the most negative thing related to me. Um, but the impact that I've left is just clear from the things that I've just mentioned, and from just me clearly staying relevant for 15 years, and everyone always talking about me, and everyone there are 11 legendary leaderships that I had influence over, and that's hundreds of people throughout 11 different armies. And just imagine the not even just the leaders that I had under my wing, but all of the staff members. Um, there are so many people from those 11 armies who went through what they went through with me, and then moved on to become greater in armies. And there's no one else who could say that they've done something like that. There's plenty of people who could say that they were a part of one army and had people splinter off and do things, but there's nobody who had as wide of an influence as me. And that's why I say that I don't regret uh, how everything went down before me finding RPF, because I gained my arsenal of tools and knowledge from being everywhere in the community and soaking in game from everything. And that's what led to me being one of the pioneers of the new RPF. And that's what gave me the insights to shape them into what they became, because I took well, obviously I hadn't led 11 armies by the time I led RPF. I I still had led most of them. Yeah. Um but I took the knowledge and the experiences gained there, and applied it to RPF. So RPF became almost, I want to say, like they were like a representation of the combined best of the best traits from all of the minds of the best leaderships of most of the top 10 armies. And I think that's why, combined with just the great recruiting talent that RPF had, that's why we were able to go from an army that was dead to an army that would become the greatest of all time, and nobody ever saw it coming. And I did it in the best possible army to do it with. The army that everyone always said would always be dirt and always be dead and never be worth shit. RPF, who there was nobody back then that RPF was a joke army of the community. Everyone talked shit on them more than anyone else. And then I had went on my journey before that, and I had, it's almost like I was training myself the whole time for RPF, really. It's like I was training myself, and then I finally made it there and did what I did. And I met a great person there. I met Elmaki. Shout out to Elmaki. Elmaki's my boy. And when I look back on our journey together, I almost want to blame myself, even though I shouldn't. But if I had just been there, if I had just been maybe if I was there those last few weeks, I opened the window for them. I can't help but I can't help but think that I had things that I had to deal with. I feel like if I had just maybe, if I had just checked the chat, if I had just checked the chat just weeks prior, maybe I could have changed everything. But RPF became so big and so many people became involved. Um, so many people who weren't there at the beginning with us were getting inside Commando's head, and the window that opened up that allowed for this was me having to step down, and Elmike just he was being inactive towards the end, and it opened up the window, and there was nothing I could do. And if I could change one thing, it would be that. If I could change one thing, I would have us um, I would have us all still there in RPF if I could change one thing. But it's amazing because now me saying that a negative thing, we look on the other side, we got to see me in action in my old age in the Templars fighting against an army, RPF, an army that I made the best of all time, and I took a trashy army like Templars full of the most immature kids that you could possibly imagine, and I was able to go toe to toe with the best army of all time, and I was able to lay them down in the Legends Cup, and I reminded them, I'm the guy that got you there, and I showed that guy that day. I showed that guy. I showed who the legend is on that day. And me losing RPF, that was the only thing that could give me a greater opponent than the founder of armies. And that opponent is the army that killed the founder of armies, ACP. So how do I keep doing this, man? I just keep pulling the positive out of the most negative, most nasty shit that's happened to me. And it just shows how much God has been on my side and how blessed I've been to have the people that I've had by me who have helped keep my legend alive. And no matter how dirty this community has done me, no matter how they've dragged my name through the mud, I've stayed at the top, even being essentially blackballed from the community. They banned me from the CPA org chat years ago. You know, they've tried to ban me from armies without saying anything. Essentially, just a silent ban. I could still get on. I could still get on CPAB. I could still lead, but they'll never even let me in the judging chat to relay tactics to me or relay the room to me and stuff like that. You know, so I've been blackballed for years, but none of it could put a dent in me. The only thing that could end me is me. The only thing that can end me is me choosing to retire, because nobody could ever beat me. Not without me coming back and beating them. And I've proven that time and time again against the best that this community has had to offer, against the top leaders, against people who became Club Penguin Army legends. And no damage has come to me from the other side. No damage. The only damage that's come to me has been from existing in a community that is soft and can't handle the strictness and the cruelty for the sake of kindness methods that have to be employed in order to maintain an army and have that army there to exist for all the good things, all the things that the soft people look at and care about. They only care about that's their problem. They only care about half of it. They only understand and want to acknowledge half of what makes up this community. Um, they don't look at the dark side, the hard decisions that you have to make, the things that they call just being mean or being toxic, whatever. They don't they dish it up to being just that. They don't look at it as necessities. They don't look at yin and yang. They just focus on yin, and that's what's led this community down a dark age. That's what's killing this community, and they don't see it. They're just too busy kissing boys and coloring their hair and being little fags. They don't understand shit beyond their little boxes. And I'm done with it all. We don't have to argue about it anymore. Um, I just want to wrap this up by thanking all of my closest friends, by thanking Jerry, by thanking Mustafa especially. That's the person I want to thank more than anyone. Musta, you're the reason why I stuck by all these years after Jerry left. I've been doing all this for you. And when I found you, when I was leading GT, you've been there for everything since then. It was almost as if a few years before Jerry would leave forever, it was almost as if you were picked as his replacement. And I was there by your side, and I taught you everything that I knew, and you became one of the best that this community has ever seen. And I thank you for every second of every day that I've ever known you. And El McKee too. Um, you two boys gave me purpose. Purpose beyond just me being the best, but helping others to do that as well. And and there's nothing else to say, but thank you, Club Penguin Armies, and I love you all.